lichess. That's what it's called, right? lichess.org. My name is International Master William Paschall. I'm just waking up this morning. It's 10 a.m. on the 27th of April, 2017. And I'm alright. We're going to play some blitz and classical chess here. I'm a little slow to wake up today. I'm kind of groggy. Last night I was doing a chess lesson and sitting in my office, and all of a sudden I got this like really bad allergy attack. There must have been like a passing cloud of pollen that came over the building or something, because I just had to take like an allergy medicine, and I've been kind of groggy ever since that, but I feel better. We're going to be playing anything between 5+3 and 8+3, so we've got probably time for 10 challenges, 11 challenges in a 2.5 hour stream. And there's no special theme today. It's just blitz and classical chess on Thursdays. Make sure the challenges are casual. We've got a long list already. World Loser, Mule Skinner, Constant Change, Aranite, Dumb Saint, Pawn Spanker. Good to see you, Pawn Spanker. You have a new account or something? No, it's just he's got a provisional rating. Arsenal Fan Richie and Anonymous Network. I hope Anonymous Network comes armed with some more normal openings. He got a little carried away with the A5 Rook A6 yesterday. Good for Constant Change. He had been really unlucky missing. Yeah, I noticed he's always challenging me like right after the streaming finished, and I'm kind of busy this week and last weekend, and I don't have a lot of time like between streams to play it all. So, or I'm very tired, and so he's always challenging me like right after the stream ends, and I just can't really play more like after I'm done. So he's missed it. I rush. What's up, man? So let's get started. As I said, I'm a little groggy, and I don't know if it's just from not exercising enough or from this allergy medicine I took last night. But wow, fast game with World Loser. I'm just gonna throw the pieces out there. 5+3. Normally, I'm like taking my time, contemplating a lot, really talking about everything that's going on. But 5+3, I've got to be, just kind of playing like it's a normal blitz game. So the good thing about playing World Loser, though he's a good player and kind of has a good natural intuition, he's not overly like well prepared theoretically. So I don't feel like my strength is opening preparation either. But at least against him, I feel like I've got an edge in general in the opening. Now knight on bd7, and we're going to transpose to normal lines, I guess, here with bishop b3. This is a little weird. He played a very, very quick knight c5. Weird for me, not for him. And I guess I have to play f4 here, sacking a pawn. I did something like that against Farkas Tibor 2 years ago in the Hungarian Team Championship and lost. I wonder if it was at this exact position, like f4, knight takes e4, knight takes e4, f5. He hasn't weakened himself with b5, so I'm not sure I really have enough compensation for that. Yeah, I'm uncertain about this. I hate playing f3 in such positions. I'm really wondering if this wasn't my game with Tibor. f4, knight takes e4. It's kind of an optimistic pawn sacrifice. I don't know that I can do that. How I got myself in trouble. But I guess we have to err on the side of caution here. It's probably theory, but I don't really know this line. And I'm talking about how World Loser is not that theoretical, but he probably knows better than me this particular move order. What's weird about it? Let's see, I played bishop c4, he played e6, I castled right away. That's what's weird about it. I mean, I think normally I would probably play bishop b3 there. Or bishop e3 or bishop b3. Okay, so early castle is probably not very flexible for white. Knight on bd7. We probably played this line once or twice of some variety of this sort of line against World Loser, but not recently. Okay, so queen g3, Castle, excuse me. I'm really feeling groggy. My coffee hasn't really caffeine hasn't hit me yet. Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me. Andalusia. I used to play in Linares. Back in the last years ago, I played several times in Linares Open in Ubeda, Andalusia. Bishop e7. Let's see. Queen g3. Queen g3, bishop h6. I'm not sure if that works here, really. There's only one way to find out. Bishop h6, knight h5, unfortunately. Running out of time. Bishop h6, knight h5, queen g4. It's almost like a normal variation. Really sure where my bishop should go. All right. Everyone is mobilized, but I've got a 2-minute time disadvantage here. And nothing special. The loser is incredibly fast. Bullet, where's his bullet rating? 1983. You'd think he would be better in bullet. The speed at which he plays. Now, which way do I take back? Kind of an issue. Actually, knight takes is even interesting. The d-file in the condition it's in right here. Let's try that. It's sort of strange, but this particular situation is exceptional. Focusing on d6. I work pretty hard at the board, and I was just thinking that World Loser said, have fun. I mean, I guess I have fun, but I feel like also when I play poker, I'm kind of a little bit too serious, and I'm afraid I don't have enough fun. Maybe that's a problem. I need to have more fun when I'm playing. All right. Yeah. 5 is good. I kind of underestimated this move. But it's not that good, right? He has his issues here. I'm going to have to play bishop g5. I'm afraid. Not an ideal situation. I really was hoping he would play knight h5 and give me a free pawn there. But not to be. What would Magnus do? Try to keep it super simple. Just focus on the d5 square. Our knight is not ideal, but we can live with that. We've got some positional advantage with control of the d5 square. Centralize. I'm not sure, actually. Make Luft. Probably g3, so my king can go to a white square. Uh-oh. Wow, he played b5. It's pretty radical. Alright. It's like a Sveshnikov. I don't really need to put my king on g2 necessarily. What I do need to do is improve my knight, I think. Good structure. He's trading queens now. This ending should be slightly better for white, I would think. It's not that bad. It's not that bad for black. I mean, he has one weakness, and it looks like he can deal with it, basically. Oh, I'm about to lose on time. That's nice. Whew, this is a stupid move. Damn. He's just making progress. Man, dude. He's playing an awesome endgame. How is he so fast? I can't believe how fast he can play this ending and so well. Thought I was better with a good knight versus bad bishop, but it's like probably not the case at all here. Lucky I'm not lost. I mean, I was clearly worse at some point here. Still can't win. It's like a comedy. Whatever. Alright, man, world loser. How do you play so fast, dude? And you're 1900 in bullet. I just had no chance to win on time. I had a lot of chances to lose on time. Peter says I was better. This is still theory here. It's just bad for white, apparently. Wow, that's weird. Okay, I don't know. There's some random guys. Andrei Sokolov. -2. Andrei Sokolov played this position and won in 1991, but it's actually just bad for white. Oh my god, you have a tactic here. Knight takes b3, takes on b3, and the bishop h4. Whoa. Queen g4 and f5. And this is known, apparently. You just win a piece. Oh my god. E takes f5, e takes f5. Dvorak did this to somebody. That's not good. Alright. And at the end, I was fighting for a draw all the way. I thought, basically. I thought I'm worse here. The computer says I'm okay. Very tedious endgame. Alright, guys. That was not a really fun way to start the day. He said have fun. I didn't have fun. It looked like a win for black. It was really bad. I played too passively in the initial part of the endgame without a plan. Like my king e1. I don't know what I was doing. Knight on b3 was very badly placed. So typically such an endgame with a bad weakness on d5 would be better for white. But my pieces weren't really in the right place. The knight particularly on b3, really badly placed to exploit the d5 square. So that was not fun. I thought I was just slightly worse the whole ending. Maybe he had something, I'm not sure. But it's just really unpleasant when the guy just never gives you time to think. He moves like instantly. Alright, Mule Skinner moving on to game 2. Mule Skinner is really difficult to get an open game against him. Let's play d4. Yesterday I think you were requesting a Trompowsky, but that's like really playing to your strengths. All right, Mule Skinner, what do we got? I don't like playing against his French. It was an unpleasant ending. I thought I was better, but I realized quickly, without any way to get my knight to d5 or something like that, knight d2, knight f1, I could never have time to maneuver. And he brought his king to the center. I was very close to losing. Excuse me. So, he plays the Benko, right? The Benko's funny. It's kind of a closed game in a way. Leads to those fixed structures. Sort of fixed structures. But we haven't played one of these in a while. Let's see what happens if I play knight f3 against Mule Skinner. Not fixing the structure, just keeping the tension against him. I think that seems like a better strategy. We've never played this line with Mr. Mule Skinner. And I typically don't play the line with 3 knight f3. I do play the English quite frequently, but not this particular variation. I have my reasons. I think that this gambit here is very strong for black. Highly recommend you learn this if you play this position with black. It's a really good pawn sacrifice. But now Mule Skinner is going into, well, a more standard kind of position. I think. And did somebody play? Did I look at this move d5 last week or sometime recently? A strange idea to do d5 there very early. Anyway, we transpose to an accelerated drag Marazzi. My other option is to play g3. Maybe black can really do d5 there. This is the most principled approach for white. I know that Mule Skinner likes closed positions, and the Marazzi is sort of... It's not very open like a mainline dragon. It's not a locked position. Kind of middle of the road as far as being an open or closed position. I guess maybe in the ending nobody was ever winning in the last game. I just didn't have any time to think at all. But the opening, there's a really bad trap there. So bishop h6 is no good in that particular position. I was wondering about knight h5 for him. But bishop h4 is the real trick. Yeah, my move order in the opening last game in the Sozin wasn't really the best. It's not really flexible to castle right away for white. Okay, so now we have a position that I've played a zillion times with both colors, which is always useful. If you can play a position with both colors, you have a lot of like insight into what the opponent is thinking, basically. Anyway, welcome guys to my chess stream. We're here Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. Central European time. Every day, a little bit different theme. Today's just normal blitzical, and yeah, that's cool, blitzical. Blitzical and class chess. Spinal Tap is online. International Master Spinal Tap. He's playing against Safronov Andrei. His usual, some kind of boring Caro-Kann or Exchange Slav. Anyway, sometimes he visits us on the stream here. We have occasional master opponents. All right, lots of challenges. Constant Change, Dumb Saint, Pawn Spanker, Arsenal Fan, Anonymous, Ayeste, King Chaser, Cheesecakeophobia tried to challenge us yesterday, but he was late. Resignania, I don't know if we'll get to him. He's a good player. We had a great game yesterday. That was a lot of fun. Do not ban Tong Tong. Alright, Mule Skinner. Nice to see Mule Skinner thinking. The black side of the Marazzi is kind of also not fun. Speaking of not having fun. Not fun to have less space and no real active play. And this is the #1 reason why the accelerated dragon is not really the ultimate opening repertoire. I like to play the accelerated dragon, but it's a big drag, not a dragon, when white plays c4 and goes into the Marazzi. There are tricky ways to try to sort of avoid it. You can try to play the modern defense in some form, perhaps. That's not an easy road always either. The computers aren't always fair. No, it's not a question of fair. I think they're just not always right. 95. Okay, this is non-developing move. It's a target for the advance f4. But he has threats against my c4 pawn. Sometimes he goes to g4, harassing my e3 bishop. But generally speaking, the move looks wrong. The attempt to punish it with f4 would walk into knight g4, though, so we can't do that. f3 looks principled, but kind of restrained, because we would block our own ability to play f4, but that's okay. We could live with that. Yeah, I mean, I guess f3 is fine. Try to play classically. I mean, we don't care about f4, forget it. I mean, we'll just play like queen d2, rook d1, rook c1, try to expand, or maybe queen d2, rook c1, rook b1, try to expand on the queen side. We're not playing for a king side attack. You know, f4 is actually fairly infrequently played in the white side of the Marazzi. Of course, with his knight there, he's kind of asking for it. So, if I had more time, I would give a little more consideration to h3. Probably h3 is dangerous for black. You know, this position is also, ironically, after f4 it transposes to the game Shankovich-Me, which was like a King's Indian. So you can actually get an f4, like a 4 pawns attack King's Indian by transposition. The openings are never ending in their possibilities. My only game with Leonid Shankovich, he passed away back around the end of the last century, I guess. Well, maybe a little bit. I don't know what year he died, but in the early 2000s. He was a really strong Russian grandmaster who immigrated to the United States, played millions of tournaments in the 70s and 80s in the US. Recently at a tournament last year, I had a game transposed to my game with Shankovich. Some guy who plays the f4 variation of the King's Indian. Funny how the King's Indian and the accelerated dragon could transpose into the same thing. Well, rook d8, it looks like Skinner is trying to play some kind of homemade, you know, e6 kind of idea. We have a good game. It looks like he's floundering around, not really comfortable, not really familiar with the black side of this setup. Looks like black has some weaknesses, particularly b6. That could be, you know, if I get a bishop on b6 or a knight on b6, could maybe do something. Knight a4 is another idea, but he just took it out. I don't have knight d5. I mean, I have knight d5, but it's not that devastating for black. Queen takes queen. I can't play knight takes e7 check because of king f8. So knight d5, queen takes queen, rook takes queen, knight takes d5, c takes d5, rook c8, rook c2, rook takes rook, etc., etc. Black is okay. So looking for alternatives. No, I don't like weakening my king side with h3 anymore. I mean, I've already played f3, so I'm pretty much done with the... I mean, you could try to trap the knight on e5 in some positions, but it's not going to happen here. Waiting moves, I have like bishop f1. Is he threatening b5? It appears like he's threatening b5. If I play a4, I weaken the b4 square. Sorry for the heavy breathing, guys. I still have this allergy condition. I think I'm getting better, though. Let's see. I don't know, Oompa Loompa. What's this deal? He's threatening b5. Rook d8. It's so strange. He's actually not threatening b5, right? I take with a c pawn, take, pawn takes, knight takes. He doesn't have enough on it to play b5. What would I do in the meantime, though? I don't really have a great, like, useful move. Bishop f1. Yeah, he doesn't have enough on b5. First I thought he did. But this rook is strangely placed. I mean, they typically would be like rook b8, rook c8, and then trying to push through b5. Now he played rook c8. There's some tactics with rook takes c3 in such positions, but here it's not really an issue. Not allowing knight a4. Hold on a second here. This looks like a cheapo for me. Strange that I can't do anything. Queen f2 is probably not right, but I'm just not sure what I should do here. I don't see anything. There's no knight a4. There's no knight d5 that's effective. I don't really see what move I have to improve my position. It's strange. There doesn't seem to be any good move for white. You can play king h1, and even that I'm not sure is a constructive move. Yeah, he's definitely playing it more like a king's Indian with the knight on e5. It's quite unusual for this line, but I've misplayed. I mean, I definitely shouldn't have played f3. It's weak. After this, I should have played h3 and called his bluff. No, I think this has got to be right. I can't leave this knight on e5 just terrorizing me the whole game without the ability to play f4. So, I mean, we're playing for cheapos with bishop b6. Queen b4. Take away a3. I'm developing my piece. It's always good. I've got to watch out for like knight to g4 piece sacrifices, but I don't see how that's going to work here. This is crazy. I'm not sure what's going on. Why did you resign? I mean, you're getting this pawn on a2. It's not that clear. It's not a good resignation. Bishop b6. Queen takes a2, bishop takes d8, rook takes d8. You've broken down my pawn structure. This b3 pawn is a serious weakness. So Skinner kind of panicked there with the resignation, but I don't think it's that clear. You know, I'm better, okay, fine. But in practical play, I mean, this is really kind of awkward for white. C takes b5, a takes b5. Apparently I have tactics. Knight c3, queen takes b3, knight takes b5. Queen takes b3, knight takes b5 with rook b1. Oh, knight d4 as well. Okay. Well, this would be winning probably up the exchange, although it's not that easy. He resigned prematurely. 95. This has actually been played by some random dudes. Yevgeny Aliseyev. Sounds like the dude I played in my last tournament. So the computer is not sure about f3 or h3. Most people played f3. I'm thinking h3 is better. Dmitry Bokarov and Igor Yelin played h3. I think this is better, to be honest. I have no idea what I should do here. Strange position. Change position of my rooks. The computer wants to play rook b1. It's probably not a bad idea. Alright guys, not happy with that game. Constant change. He's a tough opponent. Queen f2 was the best move, you think? John Capone, is that your opinion? I don't know. I didn't feel happy with my game. It felt clumsy and strange. It's not easy playing the Marazzi in a blitz game. I was talking about this with one of my students recently, and a little bit on the stream, I mentioned it, but this kind of position where you have to play very methodically, and the hedgehog, you know, take space, you need a lot of time. I mean, it's a really strategic position. I think it's easier to play the side with less space there, you know, actually, ironically. The hedgehog, the Marazzi, the black side of the Marazzi, you have less options, and it's like easier to play because you don't have as many choices. For the side with more space, I think life isn't so easy. Alright, Open Sicilian. Constant Change last time played something different from what he usually does. Do not banned. Oh, Constant Change played Bishop c4 against me last game. I remember, and I played Knight a5. The Chernyshov variation. He's probably prepared for that. He likes to kind of repeat the same variation, which is logical, and kind of improve his play. So he's playing the same line. I'm not going to repeat again. Oh, let's just play main line. I'll play what I would normally play in a tournament game. I don't think that I've ever faced Constant Change in an Open Sicilian Sozin before, and last time I chose to play the strange Knight a5. But since he's castling queenside, kingside quickly, I don't have to worry about the Velimirovich attack and ultra nasty stuff like that, which is always a nice thing. As I did also against World Loser. But World Loser played the Najdorf, you know, and the Najdorf is different. I mean, you can't get the same lines in the Sozin against the Najdorf as you do in the normal classical or Scheveningen. I mean, the Najdorf has certain independent possibilities based on the fact this knight is not on c6. My last game with white against World Loser, his knight is on b8. He has pawn on a6. He can play b5 early, variations like that, or he can play knight bd7, knight c5 as in the game. In the knight c6 lines, there's a lot less options for black, basically. There are a lot less options. But when I do face in early castles, I tend to castle quickly myself, and we'll just play with the kings on the same side of the board. Now h3, that's a good move for me because it kind of weakens his king side. It actually even gets in the way sometimes, you know, of rook lifts, like things like rook f3, rook h3. that might be attacking maneuvers in a lot of lines. The pawn on h3 actually just gets in the way there. He did play something a little bit similar to this a few weeks ago, or a couple weeks ago, with bishop g5 and bishop c4, I think. To rewatch Game 6 of the 2011 World Series. Where did that come from? A4. Pretty random. Okay, I played a6, he played a4. He wants to stop b5. And a4 is not a bad move for white. We can play for the c4 square, like knight a5, queen c7, knight c4. I did have some kind of game pretty similar to this, I remember. Now knight a5, rook c8. Larry Christensen, American Grandmaster, and kind of a friend of mine, played a lot of blitz games with me with a4 and sort of Sozin type positions. But Larry would never play the move h3. It's like inefficient. Here we have queen e2. So we've got possible exchange sacrifices on c3. Rook takes c3, b takes c. I tend to do this often, and like oftentimes to my detriment. Play exchange sacrifices that are overly optimistic, such as this. Rook takes c3, pawn takes, knight takes e4. It's playable, but objectively I'm not sure about it. We'll just play a sounder move here. Since white's setup's very slow, I think I'm just gonna take my time. Well, I mean, not. It's a little slow. H3 is a little too slow. I would argue because of that. I do have a tendency to make these exchange sacrifices on c3 a little bit too often at whim, basically, and I'm not sure it's always good. I mean, here it's probably okay. This is probably not that bad of a version. I'm just not in love with my knight on a5, feeling like it's not well placed. I think when we make some kind of sacrifice like that, the rest of the position really needs to be very harmonious. Do you think constant change could be an IM? I think he needs to probably play a lot of tournament games. I mean, he certainly has potential to be a title player. I'm not sure how much of the board chess he plays, but I certainly wouldn't discourage him. I would say he could do it. He needs to work a lot, but he has a lot of talent. As do a lot of you guys, most of you guys. You wouldn't be here if you couldn't give me a good fight. Knight eg4 almost worked. Yeah, the previous game, piece sacrifices. Don't give me any ideas. I've checkmated people like that, in this structure with like d5. It happens with my queen on c7. You just reminded me of doing that. I've had a game or two on the stream. Ironically, now that we're talking about knight eg4, playing for mate on h2, I've snuck a checkmate in on some people with queen h2 mate. But that was the previous game he's talking about. where black could have sacked a piece to try to get my dark squared bishop. So when we look at the game afterwards, you know, I want to take a look at this. But rook takes c3, b takes c, knight takes e4. It's just the constant change is quite good tactically. Probably queen d3 there, d5. I'm just not, you know, he's got some counterplay along the b file. It's an unnecessary risk, I think. You know, I mean, objectively, I think that white in a broader sense, in the middle game type of Sicilian, should try to avoid an exchange of queens. But he might have justification for making this exchange here. This concrete position, maybe trading queens is right. I'm just saying, like, theoretically, middle game Sicilian, probably it's normally better to try to keep the queens on the board. Maybe my queen on c4 can be... It does look kind of difficult to attack my queen on c4, doesn't it? I was going to say maybe my queen could be harassed, but it's not that easy to do. The problem in my position, I have lost control of e5, excuse me, e5. So he can play e5. He's probably thinking about it now. There are a lot of ramifications to doing that, though. You know, I mean, if he does e5, pawns can't move backwards. He creates weaknesses, maybe an isolated pawn in his position. So it's pretty committal. You know, I'm not sure he wants to play it or not. He does gain control of some squares. I actually have a kind of cool idea there. Take bishop c5, I just saw. Not exactly devastating, but this move is pretty passive. Rook e1. My biggest concern after e5 is that my knight might have to go back to a really passive square on e8 and block my rook. And my alternative to play knight d5 would leave me with an isolated pawn. I mean, that's kind of a key moment. You know, if he can do e5 there, he probably should. He decided he didn't like it. But it would be it's less inconvenient now. You know, with my rook going to c8, I no longer have to worry about my rook getting shut out of the game if my knight has to retreat back to e8. So it's not nearly as unpleasant. All right, now we got the exchange sacrifice again. Whew, man. This one looks pretty good. Is it taking unnecessary risks again, though? Maybe we're just winning with e5. It's not exactly winning. Or is it? The e5, oh man, no, maybe it's not good. e5, knight f5. We have knight takes e4 check there. Yeah. It does look pretty good. All of our pieces mobilized. c2 is really weak. Bishop pair looks good. You know, once again, it was very tempting to play rook takes c3, b takes c, knight takes e4 check, exchange sacrifice, but decided not to do it. Now let's be careful. He's very dangerous tactically. If he has some kind of trick or something, he usually sees it 100% of the time. But this looks awful good for us. We're basically just winning a pawn and opening the position up for the two bishops. He's got pawns hanging on a4, c2, e5 is protected. There's no obvious tactic for white. And we've got the bishop pair, strong center. c2's hanging with check. Rook takes c2, knight d2, takes back on e5. A second pawn. This may have been a mistake. You had bishop d2 there, constant change. I think that was better. Bishop d2. He hasn't played on the stream in a few days, so maybe he's actually rusty. No back rank mates, please. The X-ray threats against G2. He's just totally fallen apart, except for back rank mate. Let's just make sure there's no back rank mate. There's no tricks. Tricks are for kids. Right? Oh man, there's got to be something here. Well, we're just winning pawns. All right. It's all good. He just lost all his pawns. Just a quick look at this exchange sacrifice. You know, is this something? H3 is a bad move. A lot of games here, Kaidanov. But one random game. Negu? What is that? A correspondence game of some kind, I guess. Knight a5. Bishop a2. Rook c8. Neji. Pari Marjan Neji against Avruk. Reach this position. The young Neji. Queen d3. Queen e2. So the computer likes it. It wants to do this. Wow. Just immediately sack the exchange. Get some pawns. It approved of my potential exchange sacrifice there. I was a little nervous about this knight on a5 being out of play. It's interesting. The computer would approve of a material sacrifice like that. I thought it wouldn't like it. Okay. Dumb Saint 7 plus 3. The bot. Be careful with the Moobot, man. It's very sensitive. Dumb Saint Sparkle Horse. What are we going to play? I remember having some success with an Alekine's defense. Let's play a Scandinavian. I like open positions. I'll take a closed position if I can't get anything else. I've talked about this a little bit, and I don't really think that this system for black is great. But I continue to play it in time controls faster than classical chess. Let's say, you know, classical chess, I mean like slow chess. So not here, 8 plus 3, but anything with like 30 minutes or less. I think the Scandinavian with knight f6 is okay, but I wouldn't trust it. Against Oliver Mihawk, I played c5 one time. It was a one-game preparation. I don't think that you know, is really great for black. Yeah, I did do that. I managed to draw, but it was really a touch and go system. I don't think that it's really correct. So we have to play g6 here. Bishop g4 is also a variation that's not very good for black. I guess the whole system kind of hinges on this line. I've lost a lot of games with various setups. I lost to Sergei Kudrin in this line. I remember bishop e2 is very safe. It's probably professional move order. Leko played this, like bishop e2, castles followed by rook e1. Dumb Saint, so this is not really accurate. You know, there are two different formations you can play. I mean, you can play bishop e2 with the idea of just restricting black, and castles, and then like rook e1, playing like it's an Alekhine's defense. Or you can play c4, but if you want to do c4, you should probably do c4 without bishop e2. You know, so that's how it stands. You're kind of playing like a not so bad variation for black this way. It's still okay for white, but it's more accurate to play c4 right away if you want to play c4. You can even play it right away straight up, you know, before knight f3. But bishop e2 and c4, it's kind of quiet, kind of let's say it's not critical for black. Let's try to we haven't had any problems with the Mubat. Mubat is fine. You're just provoking Mubat now. Castles here. So bishop g4 is the question. There's the ambulance. The city of sirens. Ambulances here are too loud. Castles. I live in an area apparently like that's like a hotspot for ambulances to use as a route to the hospital, to various hospitals. There's just not that many roads, and I guess the problem is like they all use the same exact routes, and so if you sat on my street outside and you sat there and you kept track, there'd probably be an ambulance every 2 minutes, which uses like the street outside my house or adjacent. It can get on your nerves if you pay attention to it. All right. Anyway, so let's just play knight c6, I guess. Bishop g4, c5. I have had that position before. All right. I'm going to develop knight c6. I don't know. It's been a while. I haven't been playing the Scandinavian with knight f6, and I kind of gave it up. But we've got to mix up things here on the stream a little bit. You know, sometimes it gets boring to play the Sicilian or the Caro-Kann every game. So had to close the window due to rain. You can still hear the ambulance like it's right outside. You should use that to negotiate rent. The problem is that that I'm the owner. I'll have to negotiate with myself. But don't give that, you know, if I ever rent my apartment, don't give that idea to any of my my tenants. Bishop e3. I don't know, man. Bishop g4 is time. I think it's time to play bishop g4. And now it's like a Grunfeld. I like the Grunfeld aspect of these g6, bishop g7 Scandinavians. Maybe I should start playing the Grunfeld again. The problem with the Grunfeld defense, it's just like overly theoretical. 30 move variations in a lot of cases. Seems like it's just daunting. I don't want to just memorize 30 moves of theory. Bishop g4. Grunfeld defense is one of those openings like the Najdorf and King's Indian that's kind of like been overanalyzed to death by the fact that Kasparov and Fischer played the Grunfeld, the King's Indian, and the Sicilian Najdorf. Made these openings kind of overanalyzed. Why did you move to Hungary, if I may ask you? Well, I moved here to play chess. There is a very, very good tradition for chess tournaments in Hungary. The long-running First Saturday Grandmaster tournaments in Budapest. It's also, I think as a professional chess player, it's a lot more practical to live in Europe than in the United States. You know, you can travel all over Europe for relatively low cost, but traveling like across the United States to play in a chess tournament costs you like a fortune. And staying in hotels life is kind of much more expensive for a chess player in the United States than it is in Europe. D5. Then the critical question becomes, do we play knight A5 or knight E5 in a lot of these positions? I guess we're taking on F3. He's playing this very efficiently. No unnecessary pawn moves. You know, maybe I can go knight A5. How do you like Europe compared to wherever you lived in the IS? Okay. European countries subsidize the game for professionals. Well, I mean, there's not a lot of subsidizing for professionals, but probably more so than the United States. I mean, I don't think so. You know, it's not like other sports. Not very much. But just generally, cost of things is a little bit less, and yeah, I mean, you subsidize things. There's some things, you know, like for example, you get like a free accommodation at a major tournament. You know, that would never be under even consideration in a United States chess tournament. You know, there's just no way, unless you were some special top grandmaster, would you ever get free accommodation at a chess tournament. You know, so little things like that, you know, could make a difference. But for me, like the cost of travel and stuff like that is really a big difference. Though I haven't been playing a lot. Knight E5 here, or knight A5, the critical moment. Knight A5, C5 looks really convoluted to me in this particular position. Trying to kind of lure white into overextending themselves, like an Alekine's defense. Guys, we're here Monday to Friday, 10 to 12:30 CET, playing blitz and classical chess. I like this guy. Lore Brosbigay said, what I never understood is where the money in chess comes from. Dude, what money in chess are you talking about? I'm saying there is no money in chess. We're saying there is not enough money in chess. There is no money. What are you talking about, dude? There's barely any money in chess. It's like 1% of a normal sport. This top tournaments, like where the top 10 players in the world, they do get some sponsorship for big money, but that's it, man. I mean, other than like the top elite 10 players in the world, I mean, it's very difficult for chess players to make a living. I don't claim to be like a tournament pro. I think you have to be really realistically in the top 50 players in the world to make a good living by just playing in tournaments. All right, Dumb Saint. Knight takes F3 check. Queen takes F3, or G takes F3. Bishop takes C3. Knight C4. My knight C4, my knight can get stuck on C4. Knight takes F3 check, I guess, here. We got to get rid of that bishop, one of those bishops, the bishop pair. And then bishop takes C3. I guess bishop takes c3 loses by force. Like bishop takes c3, well, not loses by force, it's just bad. We give up our dark squared bishop, b takes c. Knight takes d5, rook d1, resigns. So I guess we're playing knight c4 and recirculating. The other possibility is going back to d7. Which isn't actually that bad, but it seems like white got the advantage here. The birds are chirping. It must be the rain must have stopped. Knight c4. My knight is kind of lost out there in outer space. All right. Well, if it forces him to retreat with bishop c1, I guess it can't be all that bad of a move. We'll see what happens here. These pawns are pretty irritating, to be honest. It's like a really convoluted Alekhines defense. But my knight is at risk. It's at risk of getting lost in the opponent's position, I guess. My hope is that I can bring him back with knight e5, of course, hitting the queen, but I think that white still is better here. He has a central space. Bishop g5. Wow. All right. This is an interesting, like, hyper-aggressive move. Sacking his b2 pawn. Doesn't care about that, apparently. Alright, well, I guess we'll have to play h6 and weaken our king side. Make him commit himself one way or the other with that bishop. This was a brilliant move, bishop g5. Yeah. Looks like I'm in bad shape here. Right, I don't know what to suggest. Try to crawl out of this passive position for black. Maybe rook e8. Oh my god, are you serious? Like, that's been hanging on d2? Holy crap. So we both overlooked knight d2. It wasn't in the position until he played bishop h4, and then I missed it and he missed it both. Mutual hallucination. Alright, well, we'd be taking the exchange here and happy for it. So we did have to go back to c1, it looks like. My original assessment, was expecting bishop c1. He didn't want to retreat, but after h6, I accidentally won the exchange. It's always nice. It's nice to accidentally win material you weren't intending to win. It's like a surprise present that you weren't expecting. I'm going to try to keep this simple. He does have a dangerous dark squared bishop, but I think I can deal with that. Or not. He had a dangerous dark squared bishop. Formerly. The bishop formerly known as dangerous. It's pretty funny. Yeah, he's melting down. Alright, we'll just start collecting stuff. We play for mate. I think he'll see through that, though. Alright, Dumb Saint. Interesting game. I think you played the opening well. It looks like you're better, and I don't know where I left book here. It's all been played by Larson back in 1977. John Nunn versus Paschall. I know that guy. Larson, big hero of mine. Yeah, apparently this has all been played. A bunch of people played bishop takes b6 here. That's an awful move for white, I would think. So c5 looks like best. And I took on f3. Mirzoev did that against Baches Garcia from Spain. He's from Catalonia, though. He's a funny guy. Knight on bc4, though. I'm supposed to play this right away. This is Nunn Paschall and bishop c1. Wow. Jozef was a pretty good player. He's decent. Hungarian international master. So he held Nunn to a draw. That's pretty respectable. Nunn was in top form probably back in 95. Bishop c1, knight takes f3. My move, not quite as good. Knight takes f3, queen takes f3, following Baches versus Mirzoev. And then he finds this move, bishop g5. Following the Baches game was bishop c1. That was my recommendation. But it's possible your move is an improvement, Dumb Saint, inducing h6 to weaken black's position. Now you can simply go back to c1, transposing to Baches versus Mirzoev, or the computer is recommending queen e4. I don't know about this. I mean, white's a little better, probably, but this bishop is a strong piece. So I don't think that it's that bad for black. All right. Pawn Spanker. We haven't seen him in a long time. How can I challenge you, said Prabhas. You have to go on lichess, and you can follow me, follow my account, Sparkle Horse. Click on it and challenge. If you click on my account on lichess, and then you can like highlight it and click challenge to a game. Let's play a Caro-Kann. Challenge there using via my username on lichess. So anyway, it's been a while since I played that opening, but I thought that Dumb Saint did a good job. You know, probably with an opening that he hasn't faced really very much, and typically you don't face very often. Speaking of things you don't face very often, queen f3. This is a somewhat obscure variation, but it's not bad for white. The problem is the knight doesn't go to its best square, I guess, on f3. That's the sort of drawback with this move, queen f3. I'm trying to remember what I'm supposed to do here. Knight f6, e5, knight g4. That somehow feels dynamic, but it's not the only way to play. I guess this is safer. We can transpose to what type of position that's similar to the French defense, I guess. I'm not that confident I know what I'm doing here. Another ambulance. They all take the same road, so I guess I'm just screwed. It's weird how I didn't really notice it like until the last 6 months, and I've been living here for like 7 years. Maybe all the ambulances started going a different way or something. They have like an official route, and they changed their... I mean, I noticed it, but not constantly every minute. Like, it's just every minute there's an ambulance. It's impossible that many people are sick. That like every minute there's an ambulance on the same street. There's just no way that's statistically possible. Bishop b4. So it's kind of like a winnower French or a two knights variation of the Caro Kann. I'm scared. I don't know the theory, and I'm in trouble here. I don't like this position. Pawn Spanker taking time, though. I'm not going to tell him what I'm afraid of here. What should I do instead? I think it was interesting to play knight f6 right away. Here. I thought this was kind of cool. Knight f6, e5, knight g4, and then d4. But I mean, cool for who? I mean, maybe it's cool for him. I could even play f6 there. It looks like a pretty weird position. Maybe that's just bad for me, though. h3. Ugh, yeah, never mind. I'm not sure. We have to look this up, though. a3. I was scared of queen g3, honestly. I mean, this really bothered me here. But maybe it's not so bad. I mean, the point would be queen g3, pawn takes e4, queen takes g7, queen f6, but then he has bishop h6. I could play knight d7 though. It's probably not so bad at all. Alright, a3. Now what do we do? Do we go back to a5? Take. It's kind of a bluff, huh? Bishop b4, queen a5. Queen a5, bishop d2. Queen a5, knight e2. Doesn't look right. Queen a5 doesn't feel right to me. I guess I just take on e4 now. Then we go back into that other nonsense. Alright, wait a second. If I take on e4, queen g3, bishop takes c3 check. I will try it. This is interesting. I don't know if this is good for black. I have my doubts about this, but I've been bamboozled into a line that's probably slightly better for white. Understand bishop b4 to start with. Well, the bishop b4, it's not about trading him. It's kind of like, it's about getting control of e4, increasing my control of e4. So it's not about like pieces, it's about squares. I'm trying to influence the e4 square. It's sort of a bluff. I mean, I don't really want to trade my dark squared bishop as well. You know, I could play bishop a5. And what's he going to do? Like b4? Radically weakening his queen side? And that's an alternative. Believe me, I don't want to give up my dark squared bishop. I'm just, you know, indirectly controlling the e4 square. My dark squared bishop is my best minor piece. So now it almost transposes to a, it looks like it transposes to a weird winnower. I played c6, but that doesn't really have, that has probably positive effect for me. I can't play knight c6 though. That's interesting. So knight f6, queen takes g7, rook g8. I honestly considered bishop f8 here. Wait a minute. Bishop f8. Is that bad for me? Knight takes e4, f5, winning a piece. That's sort of sick. Knight takes e4, f5. Thank you for that. Thank you for the piece. I mean, I know that f5 is weakening and ugly, but I will do it if I win a piece with it. Okay, so knight takes e4 is not a good idea for white here. I could have played knight f6, but those positions are pretty dangerous, I think. Knight f6, queen takes g7, rook g8, queen h6, rook g6. Alekhine played such variations of the Winnower with white. Basically similar position where I haven't played the move c6. Winnower French. I also have e5 in this position sometimes. We're just basically putting our pieces back on the original squares. Both sides should be okay here. His queen is a bit strangely placed now. Yeah, bishop g5 is an aggressive move. I think that's pretty interesting. Knight f6. Complicated situation. A lot of moves here. Actually, knight f6, knight takes e4, knight takes g4 wins a piece. Knight f6. What's he gonna do? Queen h4. Well, black's fine, I would think. Even if queen h4, the d4 pawn is hanging, then he sacks that too. Like queen h4, queen takes d4, rook d1, queen. Where do I go? Queen b6. That's too dangerous. Queen h4, queen takes d4, rook d1. I have to hang out in the center with queen e5. That looks like a dangerous position. Kind of greedy to take the pawn on d4. Another ambulance. And one day I'm gonna just like count them. You know, it's like impossible, dude. It's not like a hospital is on the street or something. It's a little bit down the road. All right. Exciting tactical game. I'm a poor man's Simon Williams. That's cool because I like tactical games. I find as I play more chess here on the stream and I talk about my own game and I sort of psychoanalyze myself, I've come to realize that I'm actually much more fond of open tactical games than I am closed games. I always considered myself to be kind of ambidextrous in terms of strategic and closed positions or open positions, but it seems that I actually feel much more at home in sharp positions. Yeah, the European sirens are extra annoying. That's definitely true. I agree, but I'm not sure they're all like universally the same. Pawn spank are just tanking here on the clock. Please give me your dark squared bishop. Please, please, please. There was knight takes e4, queen a5 check. Does that just win a piece for me? Knight takes e4, queen a5 check. He had to play queen h4 there. Why queen f4? I mean, okay, it's not like losing, but it's weird to choose f4 over h4, I think. H6. Okay, I think the white is a little bit better here. I just didn't really like queen takes f6, queen takes e4. My queen is strangely placed there in that position. Now I have queen a5 check again, but I don't think that's a good move here. So, Wesley, f5, queen e5, the nasty trick. It's a game. I guess white's better at the end of the day. Now he gets out of town. Oh no. If he castled queenside, I had f5 winning by force. No, he had knight d2. He could have done that. Complicated. All right. Never mind. Queen a5 check. What does it do? Force white to make some sort of concession. Pawn spanker is a time intentional. How to explain this? He tries to get in time pressure on purpose to make his opponents think that he's going to lose on time. I've been there before, and it's like obviously intentional. Now what do I do? He's played this really pretty well. Queen d5 is kind of a funky move. No, that loses. Okay, we have a kind of problem here. He's played this pretty well. I think I have to play f5. Nimzovich, Rubinstein style. Queen a5 check. Interesting. Wow. Knight c5. All right. It's like ultra positional. I don't know about that choice. I would think you'd want to be on d3 here. Oh, now you're going to castle kingside. You want to castle that way. Changed your mind. Wow, where did this move come from? Surprise, surprise. Man. F4? What is going on? Man. Jeez. He's played like an absolute genius. Look at this move. Knight d4. I could have castled queenside. I should have castled queenside. Oh. Queen f3? Well, Pawn Spanker, that was quite an effort to get me to lose on time. You're deceptive. The deceptive fake time pressure. I know you never lose on time in a non-lost position. Let me see here. So, let's check if I even got this close to right. Mainline d takes e4, e6. E6 is second most common move. Yeah, so this bishop e4, you guys were right about that. That's played only by one random Random Lithuanian, dude. Alright, good to know. So bishop b4. I was afraid of queen g3. That's the problem. That's the whole problem with bishop b4. And he didn't do that, but honestly, this looks bad for black. Yeah. Alright, anyway. Arsenal fan Richie 8+3. So let's try e4. Queen g3. That's a real issue, and my setup doesn't really hold water. The dude played g6 after that against Smerdon. g6 is horrifying. Black has weaknesses all over the dark squares. Yeah, it would be better the computer was like knight e7. It would be better to play sacrifice a pawn or something. Alright. E6, Arsenal fan Richie playing the Sicilian. That's cool. I try to play different openings with white. A little bit of everything. Tomorrow is Blitz 5+3 only. If you guys join us, 10 a.m. tomorrow, Friday morning. Okay, Arsenal fan Richie, we had a game yesterday, actually. The guy played Queen C7, I think. Bishop b4. This is a, after I played it last move, a different position, but this is a very, very rare variation of some kind. I'm going to need to pause here for a second and get some station identification. Yeah, okay. You know, knight b5 now is possible. After a6, knight d6 check. But theoretically, is knight b5 the best move? I mean, there's nothing wrong with, say, something simple like bishop d3. Bishop d3, knight f6. I think there's a line with queen d3 there. I guess you could also play knight takes c6, b takes c6, bishop d3, play this like a scotch with the white pieces. Knight b5. Alright, I'm not going to use all my time up on this. I mean, I'm pretty sure that knight b5 is a line. Probably not necessarily the best variation for white, but at least I understand what I'm doing. Justice Bot, yes, maybe you're right. Knight takes c6 and queen d4. Now that you mention it, it's probably best. I guess the problem there is he can take back with the d pawn. It would be nice. Knight takes c6, d takes c6. So if b takes c6, yeah, I agree, queen d4. But if knight takes c6, d takes c6, what is that ending? Like something, queen f3? What do I do? Queen f3 or queen g4? Something weird? Justice Bot. I haven't looked at that. That's something I did notice a long time ago, but I haven't checked it in a long time. Alright, so this could transpose to similar to another line. If we do like a3, there's also bishop f4, e5. That's not good. A3. This is bad. A3. Should I take on d5 first? Do I need to take on d5 first? Because like a3, bishop takes c3, knight takes c3, d4. Is that okay for black? I don't know. I'm supposed to exchange first and open up his bishop on c8. E takes d, c takes d, a3. And then he could even play bishop a5 there. Super bizarre. b4. Alright, I don't know. I don't know. There's no time to like play perfect moves. Just a spot. This is a free pawn with knight c7 after. What in the world is going on? First of all, I tried to understand what Justice Bot was talking about. Free pawn with knight c7 afterwards. Bishop b4. Oh, the free pawn variation. It's a free pawn. There's no knight in f6. That's why he played a6. So Justice Bot is saying like e takes d, queen takes d5, queen takes d5, knight c7 check and takes. He's probably right. So a6 is kind of, well, logical, right? If I take his knight, he trades queens. I take back. But am I just winning a piece there? Well, whatever it is, it looks good for white. I'm still thinking about Justice Bot's suggestion of knight takes c6. I just hate doing that move in general, but queen d4, I remember seeing that somewhere as well. That's just good for white. So we would have to take with the d-pawn, and I guess I'm not sure about that. It can't be bad for white, but how winning it is or how crushing it is, I'm not sure. What's happening here now? Alright, so we're up a pawn, but our king is trapped in the center. We have knight takes b5 or bishop takes b5. Knight takes b5 threatening knight c7 check. Our development is a little bit drifting there. I mean, bishop takes b5 just looks good, huh? Okay, let's say he moves his king. Bishop takes b5, king e7. My king is stuck in the center. I have to put it on e2. Bishop takes b5, king f8, maybe. I'm going to put my king on e2. I mean, I admit this is good for white, but I'm just not that convinced about the best way to do it. Alright, whatever. This is more adventurous than bishop takes b5, but it feels right. Threatening knight c7 check. I don't know. Now Arsenal fan just blunders, knight c7 check. I mean, we'll see in analysis after what the best continuation was. I'm not sure. You would play knight takes b5. This is a rook sacrifice. A full rook sacrifice. But Arsenal fan just playing too fast. He has all this time. And he's like blitzing me here. Threatening rook d8 check. Why playing so fast? I don't even care if I get my knight back, to be honest. I mean, I'm just up a whole rook. So if I lose back the exchange, it's not a big deal. King on c2 or king on e1. King on c2 could get hit by bishop f5 check. But that's unlikely, isn't it? But there's also this knight g4 and knight e4 type of stuff. I don't know. I'm running out of time. I want to guard f2 just to be on the safe side. Maybe this knight g4, bishop c5 type of stuff will... I can play bishop e3 maybe. Still up a rook momentarily. He does have a large time advantage. Give priority to title players in the queue. Yeah, it's an interesting concept. I have done that on occasion, but it's sort of dissed to the other players too. It's a tough call. Some people would like it and some people wouldn't. It's one of those things that you can't make all the people happy. Let's see. So he's got a little bit of compensation. I guess I have to play e4. Invite him in for a drink. He can't do much. He can't do that much damage with just 2 or 3 pieces, fortunately. Come in, rook c1, guarding the key square. Meanwhile, my knight is escaping. How are you going to stop this prison break? Rook's up. Rescue mission. We might lose the e4 nugget, but you can't have everything. We can be fairly generous when up a rook. Yeah, knight takes f1, bishop a6, b3. He's got shortage of rooks. Rook shortage. Eventually, my extra rook will will be a factor in this position. It wasn't very exciting the way we executed this this victory. Not too much machismo here in this game for white, but material greed is not my specialty usually. But I mean, when we have to do it, we have to do it. I mean, when you have to take it, you have to take it. What can you do? Let's take the file. And black time usage, not good. It's a long time control, a+3. He rushed it. He should have seen knight c7 check. He's 1800. It's a fairly solid rating here for classical, but He played it more like it was like a blitz game, like a fast blitz game. Black played this like it was a 3-0 game. I mean, in terms of time use. That's a Wookiee. Wookiees. Oh no. It's like, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be too fancy. I wanted to do rook takes f7 check, but it's kind of fancy. A little too fancy. Not really correct. One extra Wookiee. This guy's name is Chewbacca. Chewbacca the Wookiee, which is my extra rook, by the way. Hard to say. I'm kind of curious about the opening, though, to be perfectly honest. This is the meanest move, like b takes c, just undermining his bishop there. And we've got extra pieces. All right, thank you for the game, Arsenal fan. What's up with this? So I'm sure that Justice Bot is right about Queen d4 thing, but it's really one of those kind of like 6 of one, half dozen of the other type variations. Actually, it looks like his is better according to the engine. Clearly, I mean, bishop e2 is a move. There's nothing wrong with that. It's odd. I mean, my choice is more popular, but the score is a little better for knight takes c6 here. Knight takes c6. Yeah, everybody did d takes, so the computer likes b takes better. Ironically, b takes queen d4. That's best. Black has to play bishop f8, and I guess white's slightly better. It's not that crushing, but white's slightly better. D takes is more common. Everyone's terrified of queen d4. Maybe this is actually worse for black than the other line. Queen takes, king takes. A lot of games here. Shira, Machea, and old Jan's game. Yeah, I mean, I don't find this that... But I don't really find this very exciting for white. Interesting. Technical position, white is better. So knight b5, he's supposed to play knight f6. Knight f6. And then it's very complicated. We transpose to the other line. This is more well known, like a3, bishop takes c3, knight takes c3. This is a main line. d5, ed, ed. Very, very well known variation. It's pretty boring, but like a tiny bit better for white. So this is just a blunder, I guess. d5. The other move a6 I've seen played. It looks really kind of dubious for black. King e7. Knight takes c8 check. So apparently here bishop f4 is like a crusher. Wow. That's good to know. Varadi Victor versus Marius Cherichesh. Both those players. Some kind of secret move. Alright, thank you for bringing this variation to our attention here. Mr. Arsenal fan Richie deserves more explorations. Spinal Tap Chess. You've been loving or raging? I don't know. I kind of like, you know, the endgame variation looks sort of boring to me. More fun to keep the pieces on the board. What I didn't look at was avoiding the trade of queens, but I guess objectively that's okay for black. Anonymous Network. Oh, he must have played one more game since yesterday because his provisional classical rating has gone up to 2216. Better be careful, guys. No rated games. Sometimes I get these secret rated games, challenges that sneak in. Everybody's behaving themselves with casual challenges. Anonymous Network is this account that plays really, really bizarrely Can I say that? Bizarrely in the opening. So far, it's pretty standard, though. Alekhine's defense, nothing wrong with that. Well, I mean, Arsenal fan, just d5. I guess it's just a bad move. As, you know, as Justice Bob pointed out, it just loses a pawn to pawn takes pawn, queen takes pawn, queen takes pawn, knight c7 check. That's a trick that a lot of amateurs tend to miss. Actually, I didn't see it right away. I would have seen it eventually, but I hope I would have seen it eventually. There's a small chance I wouldn't have seen it. I played like something lame. Even that's not bad for white, though. Slightly better for white, probably after a3 or something. Anonymous network. Well, I think that the best line for white is probably knight f3. I don't have that much experience playing this with white, though. Typically, against the Alekhine's defense, I played mostly the exchange variation with c4, knight b6, and d takes, or e takes d. The problem with that for white is that when you play c4, knight b6, d takes, e takes d, black takes back with the e pawn, reaching a structure that's basically akin to like the, it's akin to the Petrov or something. It's really sort of insipid and difficult to get an edge for white. So now he's playing this crazy move. This was played by oh, now I'm trying to remember. I think Lev Albert played this against maybe Lev Albert played it against Karpov or something and lost, I want to say, in some famous game, because Albert was afraid of Karpov's preparation in the main lines with bishop g4. I think that was the deal. It's a very old story about something that took place before I was even playing chess, but so d5, I mean e6, I'm having trouble with coordinates today. You know, e6 is an interesting question. I mean, I don't know. This is either a piece sacrifice or a pawn sacrifice. For him, it could be a piece sacrifice. For me, it's a pawn sacrifice. So somebody's sacrificing something here. But I'm not sure what the status of this is theoretically. I guess I'm supposed to play something more modest, like just take on... If I just take, though, can I take on d6? D takes e. It doesn't seem that great for white, honestly. I don't know. Well, I have here the book Revolution in the 70s by Kasparov, and he talks about, Albert gives a little one-page, half a page talk about the openings, and I think Albert actually mentions this. He doesn't talk about e6, but he mentions the fact that he played knight c6 against Karpov. It's just not really good. It's not really good for black, you know, theoretically. Yeah, knight to b5 is a very, very typical move in a zillion different variations of the Sicilian defense, and it's not catastrophic. It wastes time for white to have to play knight b5 in that position. You should play knight f6, and then it's a game. All right, so where are we here? We could play d5. That would liberate his bishop on c8, though. If I try to play d5, I think what would Rudolf Spielmann do, right? This is his sacrificial idea. But I feel like I'm supposed to just try to play for like some kind of direct initiative here. Controlled aggression is more my style, though. I haven't studied this for either side, although I have played the Alekhine's defense a little bit with black. I never considered playing knight c6 seriously. I have to talk to Bagirov about it. d5, e takes d, c takes d. Bagheera sounds like the puma or whatever it is. d5 takes, knight b4, knight c3, c6. It seems like he's getting out of trouble if I play d5. So white needs to play more sharply. Bishop d3. I guess we've got to go crazy here, basically. You just have to go crazy. Hyper-aggression. I mean, that's the only way to justify e6. Maybe I'll go down in flames here, I don't know, but try to highlight the white square weaknesses in black's position with a very, very quick pressure. I think this is definitely a sound pawn sacrifice for white. I'm sort of disappointed at myself for not remembering more about it, but it's so infrequently played that I just kind of dismissed it as not serious. But I think that's a mistake. It looks more complicated than I assumed. Stream is okay, right, guys? No drop frames. Guys, I also do a simul on Sundays here on lichess. It's 6:30 p.m. most Sundays. 20 to 25 players. I think this week we'll do a 25-player simul on Sunday. Again, 6:30 p.m. Tomorrow's Blitz stream, 10 a.m. Yeah, just refresh the stream if it's not coming up. Twitch is often kind of twitchy. I think that white has to play very dynamically here. If g6, h4, it's probably almost forced. Before he has time for something like e5 and bishop g4, g6, h4, e5, h5. We do our Hikaru Nakamura imitation, like it's the way Hikaru would play the white side of the Pirts or something. The very early e5 and h4, h5, like a caveman type of attack. I mean, I think that it's just objectively, having said A, you have to say B. We did this crazy pawn sacrifice e6, but we have to follow up energetically. If you don't follow up energetically, black's going to be up a pawn. So this is. There may be other interesting possibilities of knight g5. Maybe g6, knight g5. Synonymous network goes with knight d7 to recirculate to f6. I didn't anticipate it, but it makes a lot of sense. The problem... What's the problem? There is no problem. His king can hide on d7 too. No direct refutation possible here. Knight g5, knight f6. I don't see anything for white. But knight d7's a little slow, so his king hides on d7 in a lot of key lines successfully. I was looking for crazy stuff, but it's just not working. Like bishop takes h7. Knight g5, knight f6, now what? Knight takes h7. It's possible, but it's sort of stupid. So now I feel like white has to kind of shift gears and play more like it's a long-term sort of investment. You know, he's no longer setting up that fianchetto defense right away. There's also the possibility of d5 maybe. I'm just gonna play this more like a long-term pawn sacrifice at this stage now that he's played knight d7. I don't think we can do any kind of violent, direct, murderous attack. Maybe play against this pawn on e6 objectively as a long-term weakness. So, all right, let's try to get a decent, sensible development for white. Just castle and try to play for the e6 weakness. Nothing too fancy. You can play e5, but his double pawns will become the concrete weak point. Black is probably okay here. Maybe the computer thinks white is better, but life is not so easy. Alright, so g6. I wanted to attack the e6 point, but how am I going to do that? Might need to play d5 at some point. And then it's a different game, isn't it? Maybe we just have to do this directly now. He doesn't have any knight b4. Just long-term pawn sacrifice for e6 square pressure. Or doubled pawns. .95 looks like a good move. Tripled pawns. Not so bad though. Black's position seems, I want to say, viable. We have compensation, but that's about it. I don't think that white is necessarily even better. Snap the pawn and then go back and hide. We got our pawn back, whatever that's worth. But the position is not that clear. You know, I'm not sure that white's really better. Maybe a tiny bit better. I could play knight takes d5 now though. Doesn't seem obvious how black responds to that. Knight takes castles, knight takes e7 check. King h8. Knight takes c8. wasn't convinced by that variation with knight takes d5. I think that black is only a tiny, tiny bit worse there. Well, here he overlooked a piece with bishop c4. After king h8, I think that black is okay. It's about equal. I'm very curious about the opening, though. Not now. I mean, it was equal. For king h8 in the other position. Greedy to play knight takes e7 here. Maybe good. Definitely greedy, though. Objectively, it might be good. All right, let's see. Let's see what the word is on this. I thought it was just dubious for black. Wow, there's quite a lot of theory. Okay, surprising. I didn't think it was that legitimate. Knight c6. Yeah, its main line is e6. I didn't think this was considered so legitimate for black. Wow. You learn something new every day. Ivanchuk plays everything. e6. F takes e6. It's forced. I mean, bishop takes loses a piece, so... So here I played bishop d3. This is apparently not the main line. Knight c3. I mean, bishop d3 seems more like logical, threatening the white squares. So knight c3 is main line. So he could play g6 here, and that's what the engine says is the best move. When I would play knight g5, Vladimir Gurovich, I played that guy once. Wait a second, no, that's not right. I would have played h4. Yeah, that was it. But apparently this is okay for black. Bishop g7, h5. Now it's interesting. So it turns out that knight c3 just considered to be better. Okay, anyway, it's a variation. It's good to know. Okay, we're going to play Ayeste 5+3. Macrofago plays that line because of Mikhail Tal. If you listen to the DRE like me while playing old chess, you gain a lot of points. It was Feshtikov. Okay. Tal played it as black in a different line. But I'm thinking that Albert played it against Karpov. Maybe I'm wrong. Alright, what are we doing? I didn't know that it was considered legitimate for black. I thought it was always considered kind of dubious, but apparently it's not that dubious. Ayeste. Ayeste is a very solid player. G3, knight f3 is getting very popular. Like everybody at the elite, all the elite players, even Wesley So started playing knight f3 and g3 and c4. He beat Kramnik in a Catalan. That's amazing. Alright, d5, very well. d5 kind of takes the fun out of it. Well, by the way, speaking of this super tournament now, the Gashama Memorial. The other day, Hari Krishna played like some totally lame stuff with white. I don't know what he's thinking. He played against Mamedyarov, something like castles knight on bd2 and c4. It's so lame for white. It's just ridiculous. He was lucky he didn't lose. Mamedyarov had like 3.5 out of 5. He should have had like 4 out of 5, and hosed Hari Krishna too. Hari Krishna, how can he play like that with the white pieces against a really dangerous player? He was so lucky not to lose. It was an ugly, ugly position for white, passive, and all right. Anyway, we could play b3, but I like b3 better than knight on bd2. That's not as bad. I guess they played c6. He's going to grab the pawn on c4, I'm afraid. Can he do that? Maybe. Anyway, I'm wasting too much time. You're talking about aligning the Alekhines with an what? With an early c4 without knight f3. Oh, that. You mean the Emery Tate variation or something? Where you do like a4 and queen f3? Some kind of totally absurd stuff? It sounds like an Emery Tate attack. e4, knight f6, e5, knight d5. Like c4, knight b6, a4. Is that what you're talking about? It's interesting. I mean, Tal's legacy, you know, in terms of the Alekhines defense. I mean, Bagirov is like the world's leading expert in the Alekhines defense. He's from Latvia. He was very close to Tal. Shabalov plays the Alekhines defense, I guess because he's close to Bagirov. Alright, bishop takes f3. I never know which way to take back on f3 here. You know, the knight has a nice natural route to e5, or also back to e1 to d3. But there's something to be said for like bishop takes f3 supporting e4. You heard about Emery Tate playing on ICC. He was this kind of crazy but very talented African-American international master. He was very charismatic. He had this kind of charm, sort of primitive charm. He had groupies, basically. He had a following and he had groupies. Every chess player's sort of dream. I was always trying to find ways to avoid letting him sleep in my hotel room for free on the floor. a4, a5, rook a3, some crazy stuff. Once I lost in the black side of the Alekhines defense against that line against Yefim Traeger, this like totally random 2200 from New York. I was having a bad tournament. Sometimes I would play the Alekhines defense when I was on tilt. I have a tendency to do that. It's not really part of my repertoire, but if I'm like completely on tilt and I'm having a very bad tournament, if you see me playing the Alekhines defense in a tournament game, chances are something bad happened and I'm completely tilted. I mean, I think that it takes a lot of theoretical knowledge to play the Alekhines defense. Really a lot of work. My teammate Zoltan Varga plays it like it's like his main defense against e4. But I think a lot of players are like that. Like Lev Albert played the Alekhines defense almost like exclusively. Bagirov. Alright guys, it's probable this This will be the last game. Maybe we have time for one more. 5+3 with Corey. Normally I don't play players with less than 50 games, but he's got almost 50 games. Oh man, pretty dry position here. White has a tiny Kramnickian sort of edge, but it's tedious. This is very tedious. I'm not sure. I guess the queen is a little more centralized on e2 rather than c2. It can allow me to maybe open up the c file. Ayeste is a tough customer. I had a draw at a tournament in October against some Croatian IM. I think he was an IM. Played very solidly, similar to the way Ayeste played here. I just couldn't crack Black's position. It's not a very aggressive line for White, obviously. Now I actually regret putting my queen on e2. We got to get his knight out of there, but I feel like I'm undeveloping. Both queens embarrassed by opposite rooks. It's kind of a mirror image thing going on. Strange tension in the situation here. Are knights as good as bishops in closed positions? Oh yeah, Justice bought knight g8, right. Yeah, Zoltan Varga was talking about that too. You know, they used to play knight g8 a lot, like 100 years ago. It's not a modern idea. It was even considered like the normal way of playing the Alekhines defense at first, I think. So I don't know why it's called the Manhattan variation. I noticed that somewhere. The idea of playing knight back to g8. But chess opening names are often very arbitrary. All right, let's get to the center. I like the knight here. You know, it's kind of like a Stonewall Dutch where Black hasn't played f5, but basically the structure is very, very similar, and the strategic ideas are similar. I mean, if I could play f3 and e4, I think I would have a really good game. a5 is standard. Now the question is how to react. Do I play a3? Do I play a4? Do I just ignore it? I feel like I'm giving him too much play if I ignore it. I'm not really happy about this. I guess I can take if he plays a4. I don't have to play b4 and give him the c4 outpost for his pieces. Or we could play something quiet like queen c2 if a4 queen c2. But I don't know. a4 is playable too, but then queen b6 and I don't know. a4 is just very committal. That's what happened with my game against this guy from Croatia. My structure was just kind of fixed, and I couldn't really do anything. Now what? This is exactly like my game with that dude. Can't make up my mind where to put my queen. It's like shadow boxing. Well, I mean, you're inducing me to play f3. I'm going to play it. Now the game changes character. And I think we started looking at playing completely in the center. just go for the space here. This is really closed now, but black doesn't have any counterplay. Just a question of like, can white break through or not? It's pretty tough. He wants to play f5 here. I think we have to act immediately. Wow. Oh my God, that's a lot of space. Speaking of the Alekhine's defense, he had to play f5 probably. Now he's losing multiple pieces. Alright. We have time for one more game. I mean, I think things were going alright for black at some point, but you know, inducing f3 is not really a good idea. Still, I guess I'm just slightly better all the time. Yeah, typical for that line. Let's play this last game of 5+3, guys. Kind of a new account, but he's got a few games. And anyway, I need a fast game because it's almost time to finish the stream. If you want to see what I was talking about, okay, cool. Is that your study, Justice Bot? I'll check it out. Last game, guys. 5+3 tomorrow, 10 a.m. Thanks for joining us, Justice Bot and Spinal Tap. I think Spinal Tap is gone to sleep finally. He's listening to DRE in his dreams. But ooh, another bishop c4. We'll play the secret Chernyshov variation. The not so secret, but secret amongst chess amateurs. It's a good move to take people out of book. Then the question is, after bishop b3, do we call? We take this guy right away. I'm not even sure if we should take him right away. Need to do a little more research on this. I'm honestly not sure if I'm supposed to take. Taking right away gives him some play along the A file. So it may be better to wait. You challenged as soon as you tuned in. It may be too late. You're too late. The only guy who doesn't get to play today. Some of the people gave up, I think. Well, I guess this will transpose to some kind of fairly normal variation. Bishop g5, it's not the most standard, but it's probably a line. Active piece deployment. Black has to be, white has to be careful about the dark squared bishop. You know, trading that can be really a big concession. So f4, wow, this hyper aggressive play by white. 1300. He's 1800. Okay, 1800 in classical. I hope this isn't a rated game. Probably get crushed. Is h6 possible? Probably best just to castle. This is pretty psychotic. Bishop g5 and f4. That's about as aggressive as you can play. Not typically done in this line. But I'm not sure my reaction was optimal. I thought maybe I should have played h6 there before committing myself to castling. H6. Yeah, that's probably better. Paschall style. Now knight back to f3. Trying to force through e5. It's not that big a deal though. b5. e5. Take. Position. It's a position. Chances for both sides, right? Maybe I could play some tricks with knight g4 there. Doesn't look sound. Knight g4, bishop takes e7. Yeah, it's not that great. Takes. I think we're about ready to take that bishop on b3. I don't want to wait too much longer before it does some damage. But you don't have to be in a hurry. Like I wasn't in a hurry to take this off. Otherwise he gets some play along the A file when you're underdeveloped. Tricks with knight b5 and the like. Will you stream Plucro today? I think he's mixing you up with someone else. Okay, now e5. This is super aggro. I guess we have to take. Not a shy player, white. We are going to take this guy out on b3. We won't have any bad pieces. And white's a little bit extended. You know, his king is kind of open on g1. That gives us potential for tactical tricks. He takes on f6. As I said earlier, I mean, the dark squared bishop is a really important piece, so this is something of a concession for white. I want to give a moment's thought to taking with the pawn, but it's obviously a little bit risky. G takes F. Kind of interesting though. So I don't know, guys. Despite the bad trade of the dark squared bishop and the kind of sketchy pawn structure, it seems like white still has reasonable position. Typical maneuver. Might as well take this at some point on b3. And sometimes when I'm white, I'm never sure which way to take back. If you take back with the A pawn, sometimes there's a little bit of pressure on the C pawn. It can be better to take with the C pawn on b3 to avoid having a backward pawn. But at the same time, that guy kind of controls the center a little bit. So he did take back with the C pawn. This is a pretty advanced recapture. Most people kind of automatically recapture the other way. If I trade queens, you know, it gives him the file. You know, it gives him the file. That's a good move too. This guy is pretty good for 1300. Supporting his knight, avoiding exchange of queens now. I don't mind trading the rooks off. It reduces his attacking potential. We've got an endgame where we stand slightly better due to pawn structure and two bishops on an open position. Pawns on both sides of the board. So I'm not just trying to hoover the pieces off the board here, but I think that my endgame is superior objectively. So trading pieces is reducing any attacking chances for him, and also giving us good ending winning potential, really. But he's hanging on, man. Last game for the stream today, guys. Okay, 1300 is just a provisional based on 9 games. That's sort of surprising, though. That's blitz, though. And bullet, he doesn't play blitz and bullet. Wow, knight c3, good. I missed that. Fairly obvious. Obvious move. Anyway. This guy's really good for this supposed rating of 1300. 1800 classical based on 28 games. I think he's good. He's good. He's at least 1800 classical. That's a fair estimation, at least. Very subtle, like positional play. I am winning a pawn here. Can I hold on to it? Not really sure. Hopefully I didn't drop anything. I have back rank guarded with bishop on f8. Maybe I should play h6. And what's the best move here? Queen b5. Not necessarily, though. Then queen a7. Well, where do I want to put my king here? Maybe g6 is better. I could just play bishop f8 straight up. I'm not really sure. I'm guarding the g5 square with a pawn. Make sure this knight will never go to g5. Look at that. Instantly found that move. Very, very aggressive. Yeah. It's kind of scary. Maybe I should have played queen d1 or something. I'm scared, dude. This guy just finds move after move. Now everything's protected in his position. Yeah. Maybe we can play for mate. It's like the strongest 1300 in the world. Now we got him. Do we got him? Not sure we've got him yet. I thought I had him, but I don't have him yet. It's not over yet. I mean, it should be. Even like this ending. This ending should be winning for me. Still not that easy, though. An expert defender might make it hard. Oh, he traded queens. Trading queens is not really optimal. Maybe g5 here. Now it's over. Wow, really strong player for his rating. Fought it to the bitter end. Okay, thank you for the game. I'm not sure about that opening. I've got to go, but transpose to some kind of line. h6 is the best move according to the engine. This is not theory, though. All right, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining us here in Blitz and Classical Chess. 2200 games, no rated. Okay, he doesn't like rated. We will be back tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. CET, Blitz and Classical Chess. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Blue Crow, for moderating. Don't forget to check out our YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube. Subscribe and like over there. We upload the streams. And also, thanks to those of you who donated via PayPal to support the stream with donations to my YouTube channel or here on Twitch. I really appreciate it. World Loser, Blue Crow, everybody, thanks for joining us here today. Blue Crow, thanks especially for moderating. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.